So at the end of December, I saw a job posting here in the city I live in, and it looked great. I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, I fit this description to a T. My resume is absolutely perfect for this. Now, I don't think I'll get the job, but I could certainly apply for it. I mean, it's not exactly congruent with my dreams, but it pays really well. The benefits are excellent, and I qualify. So I applied for the job, sent them a very well-made resume from a template online, got some help from some people online to make it better, and then completed all their forms and sent it in. I met all of the criteria. And then the deadline came and went, and then a week, and then 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks. And at that point, I had, of course, given up hope. When I received an email, thank you, but the position has been filled. No telephone interview, no telephone call, no in-person interview. I thought, I get it. I get it. This is probably one of those jobs that never actually existed. I mean, the job itself exists, but the posting didn't. See, I've had those jobs before. A good example is when I worked at Washington Mutual. Before I applied for the job, I went and met with the people. Well, first I met them at a party, my sister's party. Then I met with them in person over lunch. And then I came to their house and had another party. And then we started talking about the possibility of a job. And then they decided, we're going to hire you. Oh, but just so you know, company policy, we have to actually post the job. And we have to interview people for the job. So I said, fine, great. So I didn't submit a resume. I just filled out the application, sent it in. The regional manager, who I'd never met, didn't even, he just glanced at the resume and saw one name on my references, whom he knew personally, called him up and said, who is this guy? And he said, you got to hire him. He's awesome. So I got the job basically by default. I mean, I definitely did my schmoozing and worked at it and was, I guess, qualified. I did well at the job when I got it. I was quite successful. But other people applied. Other people saw that posting and applied. Made sure, spent a half hour filling out the resume. Maybe a dozen of them did it. They customized their resume. They sent it in. And I believe at least 2 or 3 people had to come in and have a sit-down, face-to-face interview for a job that did not exist. Again, the job existed, but the opening did not. And I think, how stressful for those people. You get all dressed up. Maybe you take time off your current job. Maybe you say to your wife today, honey, maybe today's the day. I've got a big interview. I'm going to go in. I'm going to crush it. And they go in and they sit down and they say, why do you want this? Why are you qualified? What are your greatest weak, all this. And they're just, oh man. And then they walk out of there and they're like, God, I crushed that. But it doesn't matter if they crushed it, because the job never existed. The posting, the opening never existed. And I've had a few of those jobs. And I'm confident this was one of those jobs, because it was a assistant to the multimedia and internet marketing director. Assistant. That tells me it's more about relationship than qualification. Now, I'm not saying there isn't someone more qualified than me. I'm sure there is. Maybe they even applied. I'm saying my qualifications were sufficient that I would have ideally at least gotten a phone call. Just a phone call. Maybe a phone interview. A couple of years ago, I applied for a seasonal clerk job and got a call back the next day saying, yeah, we're kind of more interested in you for management. And they brought me in to interview for that instead. I know what's on my resume. I know what's on it. Maybe I should start leaving off the part about being all of SEAL Team 6. Maybe that's dishonest. No, I don't do that. But it was just crazy. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I have an opinion on this. I've been on both sides of it. I've definitely been on the upside of it. I've presumably been on the downside of it. But man, it was just such a pretty job.